All right, welcome back. So we're talking about Natasha. We're kind of like trying to catch up to speed. A lot has happened in a very short period of time. Natasha Akpoti faces recall. INEC receives shocking petition. I'm looking at a report here on Punch Nigeria. It says the Independent National Electoral Commission has received the petition seeking the recall process of Senator Natasha Akpoti Iduaga as Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Secretary to the Commission, Rose Orieran Anthony, received the petition on Monday. The constituents claimed the signed petition met the requirements as stipulated by the Constitution 1990 as amended. It was learned that more than one half of the registered voters in the district, over 200,000 people signed in support. Now, some of the other reports we're getting is that not even up to 100,000 people actually voted to put her in that office in the first place.
Exactly the same point. Exactly the same point.
Just, and also, a few days ago, we saw pictures of people and videos of people saying they have no idea what they're signing. So, interesting. I'm going to read this to you. She just posted this on our Instagram page. Natasha at Natasha Akpoti on Instagram. She said, through trials, fears, and battles long, she stands unshaken, bold, and strong. With heart aflame and vision bright, she carves new paths. She sparks the light. The voices rise, the echoes soar. A leader born to break the door with justice firm and purpose true. She fights for all, for me, for you. No chain can bind, no storm can break. Her wheels a force. Her wheels a force. The tides must wake in hails of power. Hear her name, a song of triumph, a touch of claim. Oh, rhythm sweet of victory's call. She rises high. She stands for all. Senator Natasha H. Akpoti Uduaga, proudly Kogi Central. She was also on what do you call it, on Sky News. She was on BBC over the past few days. But I'm going to leave the floor to you. What do you have to say? I mean, it's a lot so far, right?
Yeah, I agree with the words of the poem you have just read out. I mean, something you said was directly taken from her Twitter or X handle. Honestly, those who have been contracted, and I am deliberate in the choice of that word, those that have been contracted, the hack jobbers that have been assigned to the task of gathering phony phony signatures for our recall, ought to see themselves as what they are: little minds. Little minds. For somebody to be fighting for her political career, for her own essence, and then, to have gone the whole hog, right in the full viewership of the entire world, the way her voice was stifled, and then daring to stand up for herself, and the whole mercenary of the state, the coercive instrument of the state, just for a face-off, issues of the mind, emotions between two people. Somebody had alleged she'd been harassed, and she had rejected such overtures. Hence, the fact that she was being delegitimized as a senator in the hallowed chambers of the National Assembly, the upper chamber. And people will not even see through that and ask for what is decent and normal in this situation: a fair, unbiased hearing. And the next thing is for some people to start signing phony petitions for a recall. The same INEC that first came out to say that they were not part of the whole thing, that it was not enjoying their blessing, is the same INEC that stepped out today through this Ms. Rose to accept honestly, these fraudulent signatures, this exercise, you see, they are determined to go to push through with whatever they want to do. But for Natasha Akpoti Uduahan, who has always confronted adversaries in that state, in that community, in that senatorial district, this is not going to be anything novel. It's not going to be harder than the past baptisms of fire that she had experienced. And so, for these people to see themselves as being gainfully employed now through something that Nigerians would readily recognize as a pull him down syndrome. I mean, that is their own PhD. That how they, and the most vociferous, the loudest of the voices that you hear there is that of one lady like that, forgetting that if this is a way for her to gain some advantage, the same thing that was done to Natasha that she has rejected, maybe this person would joyfully embrace such harassment and advance her own political career through all these underhand minuses that we have witnessed.
I feel like Nigerians don't believe in karma, sir. They believe in favor.
Oh, good for them. But at some point, that karma will kick in. And you know the funny thing that they said they want to even achieve? They said Natasha Akpoti Uduahan should be recalled, and somebody who has brought them intractable disgrace over and over, like Yahaya Bello would now occupy that seat. You know, long ago, when this drama first started, I told you the unseen hand would be that of the so-called white lion of Kogi. And that is all, I mean, is boiling to the surface already. Things like this do not just happen. So when they remove Natasha Akpoti now, and they bring Yahaya Bello to the Senate, if that is the agenda, you know what that Senate becomes? It is reduced in size, I mean, in stature and dignity again. Because already you know the track record of Yahaya Bello. So that is where he would sit ensconced for the next few years. And then, I mean, it would be a good way for him to avoid facing the charges before the law courts, the charges being preferred against him by the EFCC. You see the way people reason?
I mean, some are saying that Yahaya Bello is vindicated, that he won against Natasha before.
What is the vindication? That Yahaya Bello
right.
did everything. He was never right.
I think the particular person is actually one of the senators out of Kogi who was actually saying this, saying they had won, they had spoken to her.
Remember when the same so-called Kogi senator, that's why we have always said that somebody ought to be aware of the enemy within. This was the man from Kogi West, the senator from Kogi West was so loud.
Karimi, his name is Karimi.
Yes, he was the one that was saying that he ought to be blamed for interceding and making sure that
speaking up for her.
That is Akpabio, that they brought this upon Akpabio. You know the card, playing the victim's card, making Akpabio to look like the victim. Yeah, people ought to fear God. People ought to fear that day when we will all, when all our eyes will be closed in sleep, and then we won't be able to open those eyes anymore. If what we have been told about the world beyond, if it is true, you open that eyes, it's just going to be to that eternal glory, whether to judgment or to condemnation. People ought to be careful. But you see, the strong and the strong and the privileged in this affluent world can be very insensitive and wicked. And sometimes those of us who are not as fortunate as they are, we think, Everything we've been told in the good books, whether in the Holy Bible or the Quran, may just be some fairy tales. But there is something that tells me in my mind that these things are not fairy. That there is something supernatural, and that there is life after this life. And so that is what we ought to be cautious about. So for people to be moving in all kinds of schemes, wiles, and whims around Kogi State and around Nigeria, it's now a case of one plot after the other, one scheme after the other, mendacity beyond the ordinary. Governing us in deception. Who are we deceiving? And then they are spending so much money on public relations to make sure that Nigeria looks good. How is the country going to look good through all this? They are contriving all kinds of avoidable and disgraceful plots every day. You are doing this against a woman. Any shameful man ought to know that in any encounter with a woman, it will be so sensitive not to know when to retreat. You can hardly win in that argument because you cannot really know when you cross the line when you are dealing with a woman. So this woman knows when the point at which she took offense at overtures from Akpabio, so to say. We were not there. And people who come around to want to convince us that, they witnessed it. This is what she has always done. It's she's a serial blackmailer. They ought to fear God because you don't know what that lady has been through. We witnessed some, particularly from disgraced Yaya Bello. So for anybody to say Yaya Bello is justified, I think it's all nonsense. Those things we say to justify the unjustifiable. That's my take on it. And so far, so good. I like Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan's spirit. I like her spirit. She is so defiant. And that is the tone you find in the poem, that quotation you took from her ex-handle. And I stand with her.
All right. Let us know your thoughts. Right now, that poem was quite inspiring. My question to you, the audience, is should she be making such statements right now, or does she know what she's doing? Should she come out and speak out? Should she be going on Sky News, BBC, and all these places?
She should go everywhere. This is a major test. This is a major expose that Nigeria doesn't have a true democracy yet. It is some work in progress. Nobody should say, free at last. Nigerians are not yet free. We are gagged. You know what? What feelers we get all the time that those of us who are Nigerians in the diaspora, the broadcast you make, your media productions, you come to Nigeria, you are going to be held out. So who cares? Who cares? Why must we behave as if we are unrepentant? All the time we put it on the card, we put it on the table, reparations to be paid for slavery, reparations to be paid for colonialism, reparations to be paid for neocolonialism. How about things we do against each other? Who is going to restitute for that? Who is going to pay reparations for the way in which, of course, don't let me speak too much because it is possible we still touch on what Obasanjo, Soyinka, and Goodluck Jonathan said. But to think that we have a true democracy yet, with all these things that we perpetuate against each other, the way we violate ourselves with impunity, as if there won't be retribution at some point, like you put it, that there is no karma. There is karma. Just that,
I said Nigerians don't believe in it.
Well, they will believe. If they don't believe in it, how come the country has been going through this virtuous cycle of under development for how many years now? So whoever is wishing it away should understand that the other name for karma to know is that karma is a bitch. So that is the way it goes.
All right. Let us know your thoughts. Join the conversation in the comment section below. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We're moving on to some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back.